How do you prove abuse when the person hurting you looks perfect to everyone else? A quiet American street at sunrise, one house dark while every other light is on. 7:14 a.m. Neighbors say nothing ever sounded wrong. Her social posts never stopped smiling. Yet one morning, Rachel Monroe didn't step outside, and she never missed work. What trapped her wasn't chains or locks. It was fear nobody else could see. Rachel told her sister she was just tired. That's what people say when explaining bruises you can't photograph. When text slowed, then stopped, Lydia Monroe felt it immediately. Not panic, but dread. The kind that settles before proof arrives. Rachel had tried to leave. Not dramatically, quietly, bags half-packed, a job transfer bookmarked. The danger wasn't rage, it was calm. Control spoken gently, promises delivered with precision. Owen was admired, soft-spoken, helpful. The man who waved to neighbors and held doors open. When police knocked, he didn't ask why. He asked how he could help. That was the first detail that didn't fit. Detective Pierce noticed what wasn't there. No struggle, no mess, no urgency to report her missing. Just a house arranged like someone was expected back. But never allowed to return. If she planned to leave, why was everything still here? Because leaving was never the part he feared. It was being exposed. Why would someone report a disappearance and leave out the most important detail? Owen Hartley standing beside police, calm, composed. Main suspect, Owen Hartley. Owen spoke slowly, carefully. He described Rachel as emotional, never endangered. What he didn't say was that she had tried to leave. People fear anger. They should fear control that never raises its voice. Pierce noticed Owen never used Rachel's name when speaking about her future. Only the past. Only possession. Only certainty. Why was he so sure she wasn't coming back? Then Lydia handed police one message Rachel never sent, and the timeline collapsed. What if the truth was written, but never delivered? A phone screen locked on an unsent text. Recovered evidence. The message was time-stamped the night Rachel planned to leave. It wasn't dramatic. It was careful. Every word sounded like someone trying not to provoke danger. Abuse doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers so you won't hear it ask for help. I'm trying to stay calm. I just need space. Please don't follow me. Detective Pierce paused on one detail. The message was never blocked. Never deleted. Just stopped. As if Rachel hesitated. Or was interrupted. Who was she afraid would read this first? 11:42 p.m. That was when Owen's phone went silent too. For the first time, his certainty cracked. Because someone who plans to disappear doesn't leave proof behind. What happens when the person in control realizes they're losing it? Owen Hartley seated alone, hands folded too tightly. Interview continues. The questions changed. Not louder, sharper. Owen's answers stayed calm, but his timing didn't. Control doesn't break with rage. It fractures when silence stops obeying. Pierce noticed Owen correcting details nobody challenged. Explaining things no one asked about. Smiling at moments that carried no relief. Why defend yourself before you're accused? Owen said Rachel left on her own. But he couldn't explain why her plans ended mid-thought. Then Pierce asked one question, simple, quiet, and Owen asked for water. What truth makes someone suddenly need time to think? A paper cup shaking slightly on a table. Interview room, 2:09 p.m. Detective Pierce didn't raise his voice. He didn't accuse. He simply asked Owen to explain the last hour Rachel was known to be alive. Innocent people rush to fill silence. Guilty ones measure every word. Owen spoke slower now. His story gained pauses it didn't have before. Details blurred, not forgotten, but rearranged. Why did his memory fail only after midnight? He stopped smiling. He stopped correcting. Because the moment Pierce mentioned Rachel's unfinished plan, Owen realized the silence no longer protected him. What if the quiet was never empty, just controlled? Detective Pierce reviewing notes alone. Evidence review. Silence stopped feeling accidental. Felt managed. Every gap in the timeline pointed to intention, not confusion. Silence isn't peace. It's power when someone decides who gets to speak. Pierce saw it clearly now, isolation disguised as care. Rachel hadn't vanished suddenly. She had been slowly erased from choices, from plans, from permission. The control was the weapon. Where did it finally lead? Owen asked when he could go home. Pierce asked who Rachel was afraid of. Owen didn't answer, because some truths can't survive daylight. What does justice look like when the damage was invisible for too long? Morning light breaking through a courthouse window. Case resolution. The truth didn't arrive dramatically. It arrived quietly, piece by piece, until denial had nowhere left to stand. Control, once hidden behind charm, was finally named for what it was. Hell wasn't where Rachel disappeared. Hell was where she was forced to stay. The court didn't need a spectacle. It needed patterns of fear, silence, and domination laid bare. Rachel's voice, once restrained, was finally heard through testimony, timelines, and truth that refused to bend. How many people live this way and never get believed? This wasn't just a conviction. It was recognition. That emotional abuse leaves real scars. That control is violence. That silence does not mean consent. Rachel didn't vanish. She survived long enough to be believed. And in the end, justice listened. Subscribe to the Veil of Secret because some truths only surface when we refuse to look away.